Well, hello there, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow pipe smokers. This is the country gentleman coming at you, and I hope all you guys are having a fantastic Cobb Tuesday. Right now, I am not smoking a Cobb, but I will later. Right now, I'm smoking my cherry wood Bear Nook pipe, and in it, I'm smoking some Carter Hall, which I'm not entirely sure where this Carter Hall came from, but I found a little bit of it in a jar. All I can guess, it's some of the sample that John Albright Up sent me because I've never bought or ordered Carter Hall, so that's the only thing I can guess. I jarred some of that sample up and forgot about it, so that's what I'm smoking today. And it is a nice, cool day here in Texas. Yesterday it was hot and humid, but I guess God heard me complain because today it's was in the 50s. I think it's supposed to get up into the mid 60s today, so it'll be really nice, comfortable weather to work. So I'm very grateful for that. And it's a nice cloudy day, which I typically like nice cloudy days. But anyway, guys, this is going to be part 2 on the ring. And I already got the 3 waste blocks cut out that I will be putting the black wood on so that I can bore out the center of them so I can mount them to the ring. I didn't film this part just because it's pretty self-explanatory. All I did was take a hole saw cut and then took a piece of wood and cut them out on my drill press, so that's pretty self-explanatory. But I got these sanded flat, and then I'll use double-sided sticky tape and mount them to the waste blocks, and then I'll use a Forstner bit to cut them true. My bandsaw is cutting pretty thunky. The blade's gotten pretty dull, so the blade, it's cutting more crooked than a politician. So I'll have to true them up on the lathe, but I'll have plenty of thickness to be able to play around with that a little bit. So that's what we will be doing today. So I'm going to get my tripod set up and then we'll get started. Alrighty guys, so the first thing that I want to do is find the center of these. So I got my ruler and pencil. Alright, so I have it pretty close to center. So what I want to do now is mark the center to where I can use the tailstock on the lathe to center it to where I can, mount these to the waste blocks. Nope, don't move on me now. Stay where you're at. Center. Alrighty, so I'll do this to the next two, and then we'll go on to the next step. Alrighty guys, so I got one of the waste blocks in the lathe, and what I want to do real quick is make sure that it is true. And what I'll do is I have 80 grit sandpaper that I will use to true it up a bit, but also scratch it up just a little bit to where the double-sided adhesive sticky tape has an area to stick onto. So that's what we'll do. And what you want to do is work your way from the middle out. You don't want to do the opposite way. You don't want it to dome over to where your wood piece will not stick very well to the waste block. Keep it in the middle, work your way out. But you also want to make sure to be careful that you don't make it dome inwards either. Alrighty, so that should be good enough. So now what we are going to do is take our piece of black wood, move our tailstock up, and you want to put, of course, the end of the tailstock right on that little pivot that we hammered in. And just gently pressure it in place. You want a little bit of pressure on it to where it'll help put a little pressure on the piece to where that tape will want to stick, but you don't want to do too much to where you accidentally split the piece of wood. African blackwood is very, very hard, so if you put too much pressure on it, you can potentially crack it, so we don't want that. And now we'll leave this on the lathe for about 15 minutes so the adhesive can dry, or stick to the wood. So I'll catch you guys on the next step. Alrighty guys, so now that we got the block tacked in place, we're going to use a Forstner bit in my drill chuck to true over the face to where we can get it nice and flat, so we can get it prepared for drilling out the center where the ring blank will sit in place. So let me get this set up. We'll go up here. There we go. All right. Always remember, guys, safety first when using a lathe.
there.
Now, alrighty guys, so the first plan did not work. So what I have instead, I'm going to go ahead and just take a bigger block of black wood, bore the whole thing out, and then cut it into 3 pieces on the bandsaw. And this one is glued in place. Instead, the tape failed on me. I've used it before on other woods and it seems to work very well, but African blackwood is a very oily wood, but of course, like I said, it's also very hard. So when you try to drill through it, it produces a lot of heat and friction and it just wore out the tape. So take 2 and hopefully this one will work. But right here, I have a special cutting head that is designed for cutting out the center of wood blanks to insert the ring core, and it has a little adjustment screw over here that will move this blade side to side to where you can sneak up onto the dimensions that you need the hole to be, to where you can fit in your core. So anyway guys, I'm going to finish cutting this out and then we will go on to the next step. Alrighty guys, so this is how you adjust the cutting head every single time you do a pass. But first, we will loosen up these 3 Allen nuts, and this will release the system to where this will move this way when you crank the Allen nut here, to where your blade will move ever so slightly this way. You just want to give just a little bit of a twist. Lock it back down. And now we are ready to make another cutting pass. And the one thing you want to keep in mind when you're boring out African blackwood or any hardwoods, the faster that the lathe is spinning, the cleaner your cut will be and the more accurate it'll be. So I'm going to finish up cutting this out and then I'll catch you guys on the next step. Alrighty guys, so I got it bored out. The ring will not slide all the way down to the back of the block. The only thing I don't like about this tool is that it tends to drill just a little wider on the end and then it tapers down thinner at the back of the block. but just a little bit of sandpaper will fix all that. But we got a pretty good tight fit in here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off the waste block, and then we will slice up the block into the 3 pieces I will need for the ring. So I'll get that done and catch you guys in a bit. Alrighty guys, so I got the 3 pieces cut off now, and I went ahead and sanded them flat. So now we are about to start the turning process, and I have this tool here which is designed for making wooden rings, but we have these 2 aluminum bushings that the ring will be able to sit in between, and we have this lock washer that will keep them in place. So now we will be ready to turn these around. So I'll get my phone mounted on the tripod and we'll start doing some turning. About that, my phone ran out of memory, so I lost the footage on turning this piece, but I'll turn another one to where you guys can see it. But this one is the central ring, and it's the thinnest, which I may still have to go around and sand it even thinner, but right now it's pretty ridiculously thin, which I would turn it more thin on the lathe, but there's no more room between the bushings. The wood and metal are right at each other, and I don't want to cut up my aluminum bushings. But here's the first ring done, and we will turn the other 2. I got the second part mounted on, and we will be using my carbide tool to turn it round. And these 2 rings are not going to be nearly as thin as that ring, but what you want to do when you're cutting your stock round, if you're using a carbide tool, use only the edge corner of the tool and not the full edge. And you want to do very light and gentle cuts, because if you just jam it on in there and try to cut away too much material at once, your tool can bind up into the material. It can crack your wood or shatter your wood, and it would just leave a lot of problems, and you definitely don't want to destroy the piece you're working on. So just very light, gentle cuts. Okay, so now that I got it cut true, I want to take my steel scraper just to kind of clean it up and straighten it up a little bit. Well, we almost got it. Okay, so that's about as much as I want to take off of this one now. So I will turn the next one and then I'll see y'all on the next step. So that's about as thin as I want to get it right now. The majority bulk will be cut off when I put the actual ring together and finish turning the whole ring. I just mainly want to get it thin enough and completely rounded over. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the second ring and then we'll go on to the next step. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes part 2 on the ring making, and stay tuned for part 3. Thank you guys for coming along with me on this little adventure here in the shop. But anyway, guys, I'm going to enjoy my pipe. May you all enjoy your pipes and blends as well, my friends. God bless. And until next time, this has been the Country Gentleman signing off. Bye-bye.